Chapter 4 Study Guide. We're starting with number 2, converting degree to radian by multiplying by 1 pi over 180. And if you reduce it, it's going to reduce to a negative 11 over 12 pi. Both of those numbers are multiple of 15. Here, you're going to have to multiply by 180 over pi to go to degree. Pi cancels out. 180 divided by 12 is going to give you 15 degree. Number 3, finding coterminal. The coterminal of negative 75 is obtained by adding 360 and then by subtracting 360 degree. In this case right here, you're going to have a positive coterminal of 285 degree, and here it's going to give you negative 435 degree. For part B, we're going to do the same thing, but this time because the angle is in radian, we're going to add 2 pi, and we're going to take negative 3 pi over 4 and subtract 2 pi. When you add 2 pi, you do common denominator, and that's give you 5 pi over 4. That's a positive coterminal. This one you put it over 1 and it gives you negative 11 pi over 4. That's your negative coterminal. Number 4. We have a point that we have to graph. It is negative 4, negative 3. And so if we were to graph this point, we have to go left negative 4, down negative 3. And the angle should be from here to here, that's theta. You know this is a Pythagorean triple. If you don't know, you can do Pythagorean theorem. And we're asked to find all 6 trig functions. What's the sine of theta, the cosine of theta, the tangent of theta. Now for the sine is opposite over hypotenuse. The cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. And the tangent is 3/4, which is opposite over adjacent. Now for the other 3 functions, if you were to do cosecant of theta, you do the reciprocal, which is negative 5 over 3rd. The secant of theta, it's going to be negative 5 over 4. And for the cotangent of theta, it's going to be the reciprocal of a tangent, which is 4/3. Number 4, part B. If we were to graph the point in a coordinate plane, you will know that the point is going to be right 5, down 3. In order for us to find 6 trig function, we have to do Pythagorean to find the third side or the hypotenuse. 5 squared plus negative 3 squared is equal to c squared. 25 plus 9, that's 34. So therefore, that's c squared. C is equal to square root of 34. If this is the square root of 34, now can you go in and find the sine of theta, which is this angle right here. That's your theta. It's going to be opposite over hypotenuse, negative 3 over rad of 34. You can't leave a radical on the bottom, so you're going to have to multiply by rad of 34 over rad 34, which is going to give you negative 3 rad 34 over 34. As for the cosine, it's going to give you adjacent over hypotenuse, and again you have to rationalize it, and that will give us 5 rad 34 over 34. As for the tangent of theta is opposite over adjacent, negative 3/5. Now we have to do the other 6 trig function. And so if we want to do now the secant is the reciprocal of a cosine. In this case, going to be square root of 34 over 5. Hypotenuse over adjacent. The cosecant of theta is going to be the reciprocal of a sine, which is negative square root of 34 over 3. The cotangent is the reciprocal of a tangent, which is negative 5 over 3. Number 5, part A. We want to be able to draw the angle theta in a unit circle where the cosine is negative and the sine is negative. If you think of all students take calculus, you will know you have to go to quadrant number 3. Because in quadrant number 3, the cosine is negative, the sine is negative. So the angle happened to be from here to here. If we know the adjacent is negative 12 and the hypotenuse is 13 because we're given the cosine, this is a triple. This will be negative 5. 5, 12, 13 is a Pythagorean triple. Now, if we know the cosine, we should know the secant. The secant of theta is the reciprocal, negative 13 over 12. We need to find 4 more. The sine of theta, which is opposite over hypotenuse, which now we now know this cosecant of theta, which is negative 13 over 5. Next, we want to find the tangent of theta. Tangent of theta is TOA, 5 over 12, and the cotangent will be 12 over 5. Number 5, part B. We are to look to see in a coordinate plane or on a unit circle, where is the sine negative, the cosine is positive. And quickly you'll find out this is going to be in quadrant number 4. Here is the cosine positive and the sine is negative. Remember, if you know the secant, you should know the cosine of the angle. The cosine will be the reciprocal, 1 over rad 3. So the adjacent is 1, the hypotenuse is rad 3. If you do Pythagorean, so that means 1 squared plus b squared equal to square root of 3 squared, you will know 1 plus b squared equal to 3. That means b squared equal to 2 and b equals square root of 2. That's going to be the opposite side right here, which is negative square root of 2. Now we have to find the other 4 trig function. Cosine, we already found it. Now we have to look for the sine of theta. Sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse. Again, we have to rationalize it. No radical in the denominator. And that will give us negative rad 6 over 3. The cosecant, which is the reciprocal, will give us negative rad 3 over rad 2. And when we rationalize it, we'll get negative rad 6 over 2. For the tangent and the cotangent, the tangent will be opposite over adjacent, which is simply negative rad 2. Cotangent of theta is going to be negative 1 over rad 2. And when you rationalize it, it will become negative rad 2 over 2. 6a. Cosine of 4 pi over 3. I need you to draw the angle. 4 pi over 3 is going to be in this quadrant from here to here. Reference angle of 60. Form a right triangle. Label the sides. Answer the question. What's a cosine? Adjacent over hypotenuse. Part B. Tangent 7 pi over 6. Pi over 6 is 30. You need 7 of those 30. So you're going to end up again in quadrant 3. The reference angle is 30 degrees. Label the sides, negative 1, negative rad 3, and 2. Answer the question. The tangent is opposite over adjacent, TOA. And now you have to rationalize it, and your answer should be rad 3 over 3. Part C, 3 pi over 4. 3 pi over 4. Pi over 4 is 45 degrees. You need 3 of them. 45 degrees over here. Reference angle is 45. Label the sides. 1, negative 1, rad 2. Answer the question. Opposite over hypotenuse, rad 2 over 2. Part D. Draw the angle. Negative 45 degrees. You go in this direction. Label the side. This is reference angle of 45. 1, negative 1, and rad 2. Answer the question. Adjacent over opposite, negative 1. Part E. Draw the angle. If we were to go around the circle from here to here, it's 360. That means we have to go an extra 30 degrees, which gives us the reference angle of 30. make a right triangle, label the sides, answer the question. Cosecant is the reciprocal of a sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. This would be hypotenuse over opposite, or 2 over 1, just simply 2. Part F, we're going to draw the negative 150 degree, and we're going to look at the reference angle of 30, form a right triangle, label the sides, answer the question. Secant is the reciprocal of a cosine, so it's going to be 2 over negative rad 3. Rationalize it, and the answer will be negative 2 rad 3 over 3. We're going to draw 11 pi over 6. Pi over 6 is 30. 11 of them, that means you almost went around the circle, but you're short at 30 degree. That gives you the reference angle of 30. Label the sides, negative 1, rad 3, and 2. Answer the question. It's opposite over adjacent, negative 1 over rad 3. Rationalize it, and your answer should be negative rad 3 over 3. Part H. Draw the angle. 300 degree in the positive direction. You are short. This is the angle. This is reference angle of 60. Draw a right triangle. Label the sides. Answer the question. The question is sine, opposite over hypotenuse. Part I. Secant of negative pi over 2. If you draw negative pi over 2, you end up on the axis. You cannot form a right triangle here. You label the point, which is 0, negative 1. That's a cosine, that's a sine. Secant is the reciprocal of a cosine. In this case, it's the reciprocal of 0, which is undefined. Cannot divide by 0. Part J. 19 pi over 6, you have to think about it the same thing as you're doing 12 pi over 6, and then you're doing another 6 pi over 6, and then you're left with one more pi over 6. If you were to add all of these, you will get negative 19 pi over 6. The reason I want you to break this down, it makes it easier for you to graph. This one is 2 pi, this one is 1 pi, and then a pi over 6, which is simply a 30. So now we go in the negative direction. 2 pi, that's a full circle. 1 pi, you get back to here, and then an extra 30 degree. And so the reference angle will be 30. The opposite will be 1, adjacent will be rad 3, and the hypotenuse will be 2. Answer the question. The cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Part K, we want to think of 14 pi over 3 as 12 pi over 3 plus 2 pi over 3. This way makes it simpler for us to graph it. 12 pi over 3 is the same thing as 4 pi. So now when we go in to graph it, we're going to go in the positive direction. That's 2 pi. That's an extra 2 pi, makes it 4 pi. 2 pi over 3 is 2 60s, which gives us a reference angle of 60. Label the side as rad 3, negative 1, 2. Answer the question. The question is opposite over adjacent, rad 3 over negative 1, or simply negative rad 3. Part L, we're going to draw the angle 270. And as you can see, when you draw 270, you're going to end up on the y-axis. We cannot draw a right triangle. We label the point as 0, negative 1. That's a cosine, that's a sine. To answer the question, that's the reciprocal of a sine. The sine is negative 1, so the answer is simply 1 over negative 1 or negative 1.